Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined.
Let's go.
Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Atmosphere, what's going on? Welcome into the Sports Chat with Mr. 33. I'm he, Mr. 33. And as always, we start off Friday nights with a recap of Friday Night SmackDown. So we go on right in, right? We started SmackDown tonight from Italy with Randy Orton coming out, have a conversation. But as soon as he gets to the ring, Kevin Owens comes in and want to apologize and do all that. And Randy Orton said, "Wait a minute, man. I ain't believing nothing you." I'm paraphrasing, of course. I ain't believing nothing you talking about. But when I really want to just kick your face in, pretty much. So Kevin Owens was like, "Nah, let's be tag team. Let's go for the tag team belts this time, the third." Randy like, "I ain't going for that. I need to see you. I need to holler at you later." So pretty much, he ready to go to Mania and bust his head in to the white meat. So he rejected that. He rejected the apology. He ain't accepted, and told him that's what he want to do. So, like I said, I'm looking forward to that match in WrestleMania. But the first match of the night was actually Damian Priest and Jimmy Uso versus Drew and Shinsuke Nakamura. Before Priest even gets in the ring, they having a fight. Him and Drew McIntyre, they beefing. So they start fighting before Damian Priest gets to the ring. Then everybody's getting involved in the match. They before the match, rather, they settle down, come back, they start fighting. What happened? So Drew and Shinsuke was they had the upper hand. Then all of a sudden, we see Damian Priest come through. He hits him with an elbow. He hits him with the shooting star. And Damian Priest and Jimmy Uso win the match with the pin over Shinsuke Nakamura and Drew McIntyre. But after the match, Drew McIntyre wanted to still hold it down and still want to fight and do all that. He claimed more Damian Priest after several punches and tell them like, yo, anytime I see you, it's on site. He ain't say on site, but it's like every time I see you, I'm gonna lay you down. But you know how we talk. That's on site, right? Uh, then the next segment is Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton talking about their WrestleMania match, and Charlotte pretty much told her, "I picked you because you thought you was me. You need me because you think you are me. Uh, I just felt bad for you, so I picked you instead of the other girl, Rhea Ripley." And Tiffany said pretty much, "Well, you don't worry about it because I'm gonna take care of you at WrestleMania, so it ain't no big thing." So you know they were just having that conversation. Uh, so that segment ends, and then we go to the second match of the night: Braun Strowman versus Jacob Fatu. Uh, they go on. They start their match. Uh, the corner punching and showing who got strength and all of this and that. Um, Braun is trying to power slam him, throw him out the ring, and doing all this stuff. But soon as Jacob gets out the ring and all of that, then we see what's the boy name? Tama Tonga come out, interfere with the match, and Braun handles him. But here comes Solo. Solo comes in and interfere with the match, and then all of a sudden we get a disqualification because of all of this interference. So Braun Strowman wins the match, but the match was a stipulation to become the number one contender for the U.S. title belt. So because of that interference, now Braun Strowman gets to fight L.A. Knight next week for the belt, and as they going in the back, Jacob Fatu telling them like, "Yo, what y'all doing out there, man? Y'all cost me the match. Y'all cost me this belt." So like, nah, we was out there trying to help you. And Solo was like, nah, ain't your business, man. It ain't none of y'all business. It definitely ain't your business. So, he chastised Solo, and Solo looking at Tama, and Tama looking at the floor like he don't know what to say behind that, right? So, that ends, and then we coming out to the next segment. Well, yeah, we coming out to the next fight, which is Piper Niven versus Zelina Vega. Zelina Vega, she was showing her athleticism against the uh the stronger Piper Niven. She's putting her in like tarantula moves and you know DDTs and all of that. But of course, with Piper Niven, you got to deal with Chelsea Green, and now you got to deal with Alba Fry. So they both interfere in the match. Uh, then Piper Niven's all of a sudden she comes out and takes down Zelina Vega, and then Zelina Vega gets pinned, and Piper Niven wins that match. Uh, we get to the Jade Cargill fight. Jade Cargill versus Liv Morgan. Now, it's been a while since we saw Jade in single competition. We all know that she was the former tag team champion with Bianca Belair. I want to say it's been about at least 8 months. Well, they said August, so we're going to go with August since she's been in single competition, not Royal Rumbles or none of those type of things. But she actually did look like was she was training because she wasn't as stiff as a single competitor as she was when she started wrestling. But you know, she showed a little bit of the agilities of her agility. Kicking, the pop up kick, the pop up, and the elbows in the corner. And she actually gave Liv Morgan a little bit of a wrestling match. So kudos to her. But in the match, of course, we know that Raquel Rodriguez going to interfere. So she interferes a little bit, but then we find out here come Naomi. Naomi comes in. You know, Jay sees her. She gonna beeline towards her. She try to get her. She try to pull in the ring. She got hit in the face with the tag belt. Then Liv hit her with her finishing move, and she got the 3 count. So Liv Morgan defeats Jade with a straight pinfall. But at the same time, after that, Naomi starts beating on her, talking smack to her, you know, pushes her off the ring apron and makes her hit her head on the announce table. Essentially, she puts her out pretty much and tells her like, "Yo, I'm coming for you as well." That's just the way she feels right now. She got her licks, and now Naomi want to get her get back. So the tag champs come out, have a conversation. They get into a conversation with everybody, Pretty Deadly and all of them, and then we get Garza versus the Street Profits. This was pretty simple, Street Profits moving in agility. They get I almost said Pablo Escobar, Santo Escobar in this situation. Uh Back and forth they go. Angelo comes in, hits spine buster. Uh uh Angelo Dawkins, he drops him with the top rope move, gets over, get the pin. So the Street Profits retain their belt. They get to find out the Motor City Machine Gun, or they get to the Motor City Machine Gun and DIY. They beefing about who gets the shot at the belt, whatever the case may be. And then we get to the final segment of the night, which is Roman Reigns comes out telling everybody why he did what he did. He says CM Punk cost him Royal Rumble. So he cost him a match. Seth Rollins tried to kill him, and he got him back. So he just saying, I'm just getting my get backs in. He tells everybody I'm chilling. Whoever want to come out, I'm right here. Seth Rollins comes out, talking about Roman Reigns. Yo, we can't be in the same place at the same time. The CM Punk comes out. Everybody's upset. CM Punk says a couple things like Paul Heyman owes him that favor still. But thank you for sending out the tribal chief. You got him where I want him. He like, I ain't do that. I don't know what he talking about. But then soon after they fighting, they all get into they scrapping. Uh, I don't know how you fight with a three-way fight, but okay. So they all scrapping and doing the things that they do, hitting each other, whatever the case may be. CM Punk gets out the ring first, jumps on the table, tells them, yo, I'll fight both of y'all at WrestleMania. Seth Rollins gets away from all the officials and security, whatever they want to call these guys. Seth Rollins says, all right, I'll fight both of y'all at WrestleMania. Roman Reigns, he said, I'm sick of both of y'all. He picks up the steps, hits everybody with the steps. He said, I bet. I'll see all of y'all at WrestleMania too. So everybody pointed at WrestleMania, the sign and whatever, and they still scrapping. If the show didn't go off, they probably still be scrapping to this very second. But that's the way SmackDown came to its conclusion tonight. So it looks like we're gonna have a triple threat match between Roman, Punk, and Seth Rollins. We know that LA Knight is going to be fighting Braun Strowman next Friday. It's becoming more and more evident that Jade and Naomi will be fighting at WrestleMania. I don't know if the Street Profits will be fighting at WrestleMania, but they'll probably be fighting next week for the belt as well, because we got a month to go and they don't really know how to establish that. Jacob and they're not even called the bloodline no more. They just called Jacob Fatu. Well, he's the Wild Samoan. Tama Tonga, uh, and Solo. That's they got their name back. I didn't even know Jimmy Uso got Big Jim Uso. I don't know where we get Big Jim from. Ain't been a Big Jim since Hillbilly Jim. But that's just I'm just telling my age, but it's okay. But but that's becoming more and more evident. He won a shot at the US belt too. But we know next week that's Braun Strowman's chance at the belt. Will he win? We don't know. Uh and like I said, Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre, that's looking towards a WrestleMania match as well. Uh, that's pretty much it. Uh, there's nothing official that as far as we know, there's only 4 matches, and 2 of them they're all for the belts. So that's the only matches we know of for sure right now, right? But SmackDown was pretty interesting. Shout out to the crowd in Italy. They was in Bologna, Italy, and the way they was cheering for everybody, the way they were interacting with the momentum, uh, the rest of the activities in the matches. It was, I just think that when they go, when the wrestlers go across the seas, whether it's Italy, England, or next week they'll be in London, Germany, France, wherever they be going. The international crowd, it gives them so much of a flavor, so much of a rush to be the best wrestlers that they can be. They put on a great show, and the crowd really came through and set it up for everybody. So shout out to the crowd in Italy. They try to make it as you know exciting as it is. They did a good job, with their participation. The matches were okay. Like to me, the best match was the way Selena Vega was moving around against Piper Niven before she got squashed like a jelly bean. And Jada also did a good performance. I think she moved a whole lot. She moved around a whole lot better than she was before the quote unquote injury. So shout out to SmackDown in totality. It was a good show. They're starting to open up. They're starting to reveal certain matches that's going to come into play. That's my belief. And we gotta keep watching because there's gonna be more matches. They got 2 days of WrestleMania. You think it's only gonna be 4, 5, 6 matches? Nah, it might be 7 matches a night. Or 7 matches, yeah, 7 matches a night. Probably just two belts. They still got to figure out what they're gonna do with the women's tag belt. They got to figure out what to do with the men's tag belt. They got to figure all of these things out. So you got to. It's gonna take them a couple weeks, but you guys got to stay tuned and see just exactly what's going on in the square circle at the WWE. Um, also tonight, oh, actually the past 2 nights, the NCAA tournament has been revving it. Well, it's in play right now. Uh, so far we had a couple of upsets. The upsets were like Clemson losing to McNeese State. We've seen today Memphis lose to uh, an 11 seed. Uh, like today, really. Besides that Memphis loss, we see several a 10 seed win. We starting to see a lot of lower seeds coming back and winning over the higher seeds. A 10 over a 7. We've seen a 5 over a 12. Uh, we've seen several. Like I think we've seen a 4 over 13, if I'm not mistaken. But but this is the season. This is the reason why they have these contests, because these contests consist of up and down teams. You only get like 1 day to show up. If you don't show up, you're gonna get showed out the way. Uh, Baylor beat Mississippi State. That's the second 10-7 seed. But no, that's 8-9 seed. Uh, but other than that, there's no real major upsets as far as one's losing the 16s, things like that. But yeah, this is the reason why this is one of the most exciting sporting events in the country, because you got all of these schools. Like yesterday they played 16 games. Today they played 16 games, and they're winding down now. So they started at 12 p.m. They're gonna go well past 12 a.m. And it's the competition to see the college kids play basketball, to see if they ready to show up and show out. Realist, what's going on? Connecticut is on the path of three-peating. They will be pulling out a victory tonight over Oklahoma, 67-59. They'll advance to Sunday, so they'll live to see another day. Their three-peat chances are still active. It's still in play, but you know, like I said, it's just a lot of college basketball, both the men and the women. The women started their tournament tonight or today as well. They're still playing. There's no upsets on that side either. But if you are a college sports lover, these next few days is for you, right? You got the entire weekend. I think they'll play 4 more games or 8 more games tomorrow, and maybe 8 more games Sunday to get to the Sweet 16. And for the women, like I said, they just starting. So the first 16 games is today, and tomorrow they'll probably play another 16 games. But it's a lot of college sports going on. The NBA's, they still playing, but they really taking a back seat to the uproar of the college basketball. This is their time. This is their one shining moment. This is their season to go forward and put the best product of themselves out, to if they decide to go ahead and take the next step into the NBA. They know this is the time to do it. All eyes is on them. Millions of people is watching them, waiting to see who's going to be crowned the 2025 NCAA champions. It's UConn versus the field. Of course, I'm picking the field. I don't think UConn going to make it to next weekend, if I'm being honest. But time will tell. Uh, but yeah, it's so many different things going on in the world of sports today. Uh, we got sad news in the world of boxing. The former heavyweight champion George Foreman, the two-time former heavyweight champion, passed away today at the age of 76. We know George Foreman from people today may know George Foreman for the George Foreman Grill, but he was a well-renowned a boxer. He's the guy that fought Muhammad Ali in the Thrilla in Manila, even though he lost that fight, which gave Ali his second title reign. But he was known for his power, his tremendous hitting power. Because when he fought Frazier, he destroyed Frazier. Frazier looked like whew, Frazier looked like one of the punching bags. He just, you know what I mean? He looked like the dude from. I think, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm not wrong, if I'm right, it may be disrespectful. But if you remember playing Mike Tyson Punch Out, I think they try to make King Hippo look like George Foreman. We kids. I ain't gonna front. I never even looked at it until I sat down years later, like, wait a minute. Everybody that they thought was a great champ, they put on Mike Tyson Punch Out. And you gotta really look at it because they got they got some dudes looking like some, and then the others not really face recognition, but if you see they fighting the prowess, you would have thought King Hippo was George Foreman because that's how George Foreman would punch the same way. But the fact that he's no longer here at the age of 76, there was no updated, no, like there's no cause of death or anything like that. It's like I said, we're getting older and we starting to see how much older we're getting because everything that we've seen in our childhood, our teen years, growing up in general, right? People are leaving, whether it's a boxer, whether it's an entertainer, as far as music or any other thing of that nature. We starting to see they starting to lose their lives. 76, George Foreman tonight. We've seen some musician and artists have passed over the past few months. Angie Stone just passed away at 60. What was she? 63, right? From the car accident in Alabama. We starting to see people losing their life, and for a lot of us, those names are familiar as we was coming up. Angie Stone was one of the little R&B singers that gave us some soul and good music. And now tonight we hearing about George Foreman passing away. He's the only guy that won the belt in his 20s and then turned around and won the belt in his 40s. And he beat Michael Moore almost, well, just a little bit over 30 years ago. So, and he was moving around pretty well. He didn't have he wasn't drunk punch like a lot of the boxers that came before him. I know a lot of people will say, well, that's what happened to Muhammad Ali, things like that. But George Foreman had all his faculties. He was speaking good. He was, you know, doing his thing. He was in the church and all of that other stuff. But it's just sad when somebody, it's just sad as a human being when you hear about people losing their lives. But it makes you look at yourself because, you know, like I said, when you was a kid or a teenager, you remember George Foreman. Commander, what up, Nine? Good to see you. I ain't see you in a couple of days. What up, Nine? But coming up in the 90s, you could remember George Foreman, even in his last fight with Lennox Lewis and Michael Moore and Holyfield and things like that. He was out there, he was fighting in his 40s. It wasn't that he was bad. He just ran into some better boxers, better younger boxers. Lennox Lewis, for sure, is one I know. He was younger than, but Holyfield, he stood his ground, but he couldn't. He lost on the cards or whatever. It wasn't like he got knocked out or anything in his 40s, which was an amazing feat in itself. But he just showed you that it didn't matter how old you are. You always have a puncher's chance, literally. That's exactly what he showed me. He had a puncher's chance at 40 years old, 40 something years old when he won the belt, 40 years old when he lost the belt. But it wasn't like he got knocked down, knocked out, TKO'd. I don't remember none of that. I remember that was an older man who was sitting there just boxing off off of his pure strength because that's what he knew. Like I said, to win the belt in your 20s and then turn around in your 40s and win the belt, that's that would be compared to like LeBron James, right? As LeBron James won his title when he was in his 20s, and then he's trying to win one in his 40s. So, we understand the history that George Foreman he left in the world of boxing. But like I said, after he left boxing, he made that grill, and he became an entrepreneur because those grills made him easily a millionaire. You know, and he was, like I said, he was doing this in his 40s. He became an entrepreneur around 50, right, maybe right after the 94, after he lost his belt in 94, 95. But like I said, it just goes to show you that you're never too old to learn something new. You're never too old to begin something anew. Right? He went from boxing and becoming an entrepreneur, but now at the age of 76, George Foreman is gone. From the Channel 9 studios, we send our condolences to his family, his loved ones, his friends, and those that supported him all throughout. But yeah, that's one of the reasons why I decided to come live tonight. Even though SmackDown had his event, I just wanted to touch on the George Foreman situation. Once again, George Foreman lost his life at the age of 76. There's no I haven't seen the cause of death, but like I said, when you start to lose people as you start growing up and you see these people are now leaving, they going on to be with the Lord, as they would say. It gives you time to reflect. Like, dang, I remember when George was out there fighting Michael Moore. I remember all of those fights, right? You remember those early to mid 90 fights. And just to say, wow, he was in his 40s doing that. You know what I mean? And like I said, we just also lost Andy Stone maybe a couple of weeks ago. And like, it, well, those of us in New York, that those Andy Stone songs, if you went skating at in the city, whether it's uh Skate Key or Skate Rink USA or wherever, we know that her music was playing. BDB, what up, Nine? Right? But like I said, when you hear the reports, when you see those reports of people passing away, even though they live in good ages, it just makes you reflect on what you was doing when you remember that individual at a certain time. So, once again, we send our condolences to George Foreman, his family. Uh, it's a lot going on, right? Like I said, and even though I'm still over here watching the NCAA tournament, it's just something that, like I said, it's just something that you tend to reflect on when you hear loss of life. Even in as I'm watching this game, I'm sitting there thinking about, wow, time is flying. It's time for us to enjoy lives. Let these guys who are entertaining us, let's be entertained by them. You know what I mean? It may sound cliche-ish. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And we only a quarter of the way through the year, right? Because we know that well, I know. I was told death comes in threes. And within this just this month alone, we lost Angie Stone, we lost uh what's his name? Junior Bridgman. Junior Bridgman was a guy that played in the NBA, but he's known for being a millionaire for his entrepreneurship. He owned a whole bunch of restaurants like Wendy's and things like that. After leaving the league in the mid '80s, like he's one of those guys that the athletes were going to speak to about starting businesses and how to flip their money from the NBA. And so, and now we got George Foreman. So those are the three deaths in the world of sports and entertainment. So, like I said, we cover, we speak about it because that's what we do here on Sports Chat. We talk about the good things, And now, in these particular cases, we got to talk about the losses. So, uh, it just, like I said, it makes me realize that we got to keep going on. We got to keep going forward as far as, living life, and if we're pursuing happiness, continue to pursue it. If you got it, embrace it and enjoy it. Because, like I said, even though they was of age, in their 60s and 70s, uh, we just want to make sure that, whatever we're doing, we're embracing and enjoying the things that we are doing each and every day. So, uh, let's just continue to be ourselves. Let's continue to enjoy life. And, rest in peace to George Foreman. But, as this night is closing up as far as college basketball, I ain't even talk about the NBA, right? Because that's why I'm telling y'all, it's just so much. The college basketball has really taken over. And as they wrapping up, I probably won't get it all in here tonight, but I will post the updated brackets sometime in the morning. So whoever's following that can see that we are following here on Sports Chat with Mr. 33, and also the results of the NBA games. There's still some NBA games on the West Coast that maybe at halftime or on their way to the third quarter. But you know, that's basically what we have tonight as far as the sports and that things like that. Illinois, they won. Yeah, they're beating Xavier. So like I said, there's maybe one or two more games. Oh no, they beat Xavier 86-73. But that's not an upset because they would Illinois is the 6th seed and Xavier was the 11th seed. So, as they're winding down, like I said, I'll keep you updated as far as the scores, the brackets, as I normally do. Uh, Michigan State is up big against the 15th seed Bryant Bulldogs. It also gives me time to actually look at where these schools is at, look them up, majors and what they specialize in and things like that. But these last couple games are blowouts, so we just gonna say that Oregon is gonna advance, Michigan State is gonna advance. And then we got to deal with tomorrow. We got 8 games tomorrow. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I think there's 4 more after that. So there'll be 8 games tomorrow. And those teams started playing yesterday. They get a day off and go right back at it tomorrow. But that's the beauty of the tournament. The tournament is going to be an ongoing thing from Thursday to Sunday. Then they get the week off until the Thursday again. And, it'll go from 8 to 4 to 2. Then the championship will probably be in the middle around April 4th, 5th. Or maybe that second week in April. That second Monday in April. But we winding down, guys, and that's like I said, if you're a sports enthusiast, you would love it. I know there's a boxing match tomorrow. I'll update that as well. I also spoke about the Canelo Alvarez fight in May and showed the undercard. That's on the community wall too. Well, they call it posted now, but it's on the community wall. So I'm trying to keep you guys abreast of what's going on in the world of sports, whether it's boxing, college basketball, NBA basketball, men and women college basketball. It's a lot going on, y'all. And I appreciate each and every one of y'all that's staying with me as I try to keep you updated. And I ain't even talk about baseball because baseball's starting on Thursday, the 27th. So everything is about to rev up. New season of baseball, basketball playoffs start in a couple. They got 3 weeks for the NBA tournament right after this. NCAA tournament, they'll be starting NBA playoffs. It's about to rev up. I'm ready for it. I hope you guys are ready for it. And of course, I will keep you all updated with this thing. So, Monday, we'll talk about what happened on Monday Night Raw. We'll probably sum up the weekend in college basketball. We're definitely going to cover the fight on Saturday night. We'll have that conversation. Uh, and that's pretty much it. Now, on the side note, right now, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but my co-host, my 33 brother, he's not in. He's not in. He's going to celebrate his anniversary with his wife. So on behalf of the sports chat with Mr. 33, the whole thing, we wishing Mr. and Mrs. Word a happy anniversary. We hope that they enjoy their weekend. He said something earlier on Bust It Down channel, but I'm just reiterating it because normally we would be up here talking about SmackDown, we'll be talking about boxing, we'll talk about sports. And a lot of the times he comes up and makes some valid points and gives a different viewpoint. But tonight, I just wanted to wish him and his wife a happy anniversary. Uh, we hoping that they enjoy their weekend off. He better not come back on before Monday. We're gonna have to have conversations. But nah, I just wanted before I ended the show, I just wanted to wish him and his lovely wife a happy anniversary, and hopefully they get to enjoy their weekend. He gets to move around. He ain't got to worry about nothing but enjoying his wife. That's what married people should be doing, and that's what we want him to do. So on behalf of the whole sports chat family, we wish them a happy anniversary. So with that being said, that's why we need you, Commander. We need you to start something. we gonna be wordless pretty much for the weekend. But nah, yeah, that's what I'm telling him. You better, yeah, he better. I know he got a lot of feet to rub this weekend, right? But but uh, with that being said, y'all, on Monday, like I said, I'll cover up everything that happened over the rest of the weekend. We'll probably talk. Well, if he don't see the fight, I'll briefly discuss that fight Saturday. I can't. Y'all bear with me. Like I said, it's so much sports. I'm trying to keep everything together, but I know there's a fight coming up tomorrow. Now well, if you got StreamYard, your StreamYard is free, Commander. Just download StreamYard and you can do what you need to do from there. I'm on my phone. I'm on my phone right now, but I'm on StreamYard. Once you get like one of the streaming apps, you don't have to wait to like you don't have to wait to do anything like that. And StreamYard, like right now, I have the free service from StreamYard. So I think this, and then the other one is free too. What's that? Evil Mooks. I just haven't used it in a while because I don't like on StreamYard. They give you like 20 hours to stream, right? You get 20 hours to stream. And I think on Evil Mooks I got 30 hours, so I got 50 hours of streaming that I don't really go over. Like if I get low, like it starts for me on the first. So every first of the month I get a new 20 hours on StreamYard. So that's why when you got people around you, you ain't gotta really stream as much. You know what I mean? So, but yeah. So if you got that, that'll give you like 2 hours. It gives you a limit on that ebooks. So it gives you 2 hours. So but you got 30 hours for the month. So if you do 15 shows at 2 hours, you'll be straight. And then you got the regular stream yard. So, but yeah. Well, if you go, well, I'm subscribed to you anyway, Commander. So if you go live, I'm already there. I'm catching it. So if you do, you do. I haven't even seen. Well, Ryder's been going live a little bit, but she be going on. Like if I don't see nobody going live, I'll go to sleep around like 12:30, 1 o'clock. But tonight I'm on I'm on live, so I can't just pop up and go to sleep. I got to see these scores and try to get everything together, get the notes, and then put it all together. So whenever I wake up in the morning, I can update everybody, and then things like that. But I'm sorry, guys. It seems like I'm rambling, but I'm talking to Command at the same time because that's the homie, that's the nine. And when I see her, she always get the acknowledgement. So I, I'm just hollering at her. But anyway, thank you guys for stopping by tonight. Once again, I'll see you guys on Monday to update you on everything that happening over the weekend in the world of basketball, both men and women college. If there's any upsets, uh, I will address it on Monday. The boxing match tomorrow night on pay-per-view. I will discuss that a little bit. And of course, Monday Night Raw. We will see what's going on over there. If they're going to add any more matches to WrestleMania, we will be on top of that. So with that being said, guys, I truly appreciate you stopping by. And from the Channel 9 studio, it's Mr. 33, and he's signing off. See you guys on Monday.